Today I'm going to try to teach you the two main ways of drawing lines on a grid. The first method involves substitution. As you can see on the left hand side, I've created a little table of x values and y values. At the moment it's blank, and there's a very good reason for that. So we need to just make sure that we know how to plot points on plot coordinates on a grid in the first place. So we need to know which axis is which. Now I'm just highlighting green the x-axis, and the way I remember that is that x is physically a cross like that, but also the x-axis goes across. It goes physically across the page. The y-axis goes up, and the way I remember that is just by saying y goes up to the sky. Now the first method, in the table on the left hand side there are blanks next to the x. Now what you need to do is you need to put numbers into the x row there. Now the easiest numbers to put in are the lowest ones. So let's just go 0, 1, 2, and then it's always useful to put in a couple of minus numbers as well. So I've put -1 and -2 in there. Now what that's asking is it's asking you to substitute each of these values into our formula. So our formula is y equals 2x minus 1. So I've highlighted in this case y when x equals 0. So I'm going to substitute x equals 0 into our formula. So for that very first one, I'm going to write y equals 2 times by 0 minus 1. So 2 times by 0 is 0 minus 1. So y equals -1. Now this bit, which I've just putting a blue box around, that is actually our very first coordinate that we can plot, which is 0 minus 1. So I can plot that point on our grid. So 0 minus 1 is there where I've put the blue cross. Now we can continue the process, and this time we're going to do it for x equals 1. So I might just put a little a above the first one just to show you that's what that is. The b can be on this one. So x equals 1 this time means that y equals 2 times by 1 minus 1. So y equals 1. So again, I'm going to put a green box around this one this time. We've now got our next coordinate, which is 1, 1. So I can plot that on the grid here. So we've got the beginnings of a straight line. The next step is to continue the process, and this time we're going to have that column I've just put as C, so x equals 2 this time, so y equals 2 times by 2 minus 1, so x equals 3. So now we've got our new coordinate again, and this time it's 2, 3, so I can plot that, so go along 2 and up to 3. Now all three of those crosses look like they're in a straight line, so we can get our ruler and we can connect them up. What's really good practice is when you're labelling these lines to actually write it on top of the line as if the line itself is underlining what your formula is. So write it like this, so y equals 2x minus 1. There is another way of doing it, which personally it works for me a bit easier. I find it a bit quicker, but with lots of my students it doesn't. But I'm going to teach you it because I think it will save you a bit of time. Now, there's a formula which is called y equals mx plus c. Now you can look at all of those things. You can see that there's an m, there's a c, and you think, what on earth do they actually mean? So first up, the m. That means the gradient. Now, gradient, if you're on a hill and it's really, really steep, that means that it's got a high gradient. And it's exactly the same with these on these things. So gradient just means if you were to take a point and count across 1, it's how high you then have to count to go up to the line. So if we were to focus on this bit that I've just highlighted here at 0 minus 1. To work out its gradient, you count across 1 to there, and then see how high you go to get to the line. So I'm going up one place and keep going 2 places. So I've actually gone, the gradient there is 2 because I've gone along 1 and up 2. If I'd had to go up 3, the gradient would be 3, 4, and so on. Now the next part is this C value. Now what the C means is that is called the y-intercept. Now that just means where the line crosses the y-axis. So if we look at the line we've already drawn, the y-intercept, or intersect either way, is at -1, which is here. And that's where it's crossed. So it's quite quick sometimes to just to use this, and then you don't have to do any of the substitution where things can go wrong. So I'm going to create another line here for you, and we're going to try and use that formula for it. So this time I'm going to say the line is y equals 2x plus 3. So we're going to start by thinking about the y-intercept, which is here. And that means that you can plot that point without doing any substitution. We know that the line crosses the y-axis at 3, which is there. The next thing you need to look for is the gradient. And in this case, the gradient is 2. So we take our point that we've already got. We go along 1, and then we go up 2. And that's our new point. You can do it going backwards as well. You can go left 1 and down 2. And you've got another point there. And you can see that those 3 crosses create a bit of a straight line again. So again, we can just draw it like that. And this time we can label it by writing on it as if it's underlining our formula, y equals 2x plus 3. So I hope that's useful. There are 2 different methods of doing it. It's completely up to you which you use. Either way, you're going to end up getting the same line drawn on the grid. It's just whatever works for you.